In the House, the Democratic Party divided on several fronts, including how to handle it. Want to bring in Karl, Rove, also Trey Gowdy still with us as well. And gentlemen, welcome to the conversation. Wall Street Journal headline here, opinion page, Joe Biden's impeachment moment. He'd help the country in his presidency by calling off the House. I don't know what they're going to do, Karl. I got a little bit of a calendar here, the best I can piece it together. You get articles tomorrow, perhaps. That's Wednesday. Mitch McConnell sent a note out late on Friday night, said the first time the Senate can take this up, and the Senate's obligated, based on the Constitution, to take up quickly, would be at 1 o'clock a week from tomorrow, which is Inauguration Day. So then President Trump is now former president. The Constitution talks about presidents. They don't talk about former presidents. How would you expect this to go? Would the House hold the articles back before you went 100 days down the road and help Joe Biden to unwind his agenda? I mean, there's a lot there. What is your guess?
Well, the House will take it up because the House can, and they will pass it quickly because Nancy Pelosi has announced she's got the votes. But the Senate, by unanimous consent, every member agreed that they're not coming back into session until January 19th, which means that if they attempt to come back into session, all it requires is one member to say, I object, and they cannot come back into session. So they've already agreed. We're going to appear back here on January 19th, assume that the House passes its business. It then has to be delivered to the Senate, and they will be physically unable to begin a hearing in the committee or a hearing on the floor and do the trial that they're supposed to do until after President Trump is no longer president. I agree with the Wall Street Journal editorial that said that one of the things that Joe Biden could do to both heal the country and advance his own interests in the short run is to call an end to this. That the opening days of his administration will be taken up with a highly contentious debate over, first of all, is there power to impeach a former president? And then is it justified then to impeach him? And then we're going to have a vote in the Senate that will leave batters and bruises all over this country. And is that how we really want to start the Biden administration? It's bad enough that the first week is being, the last week before he takes office is being taken up, not with what he hopes and aspires to do, but instead upon the fallout from last Wednesday's riot and assault on the Capitol, and now all this discussion about impeachment.
What do you think, Trey?
I think Nancy Pelosi wants to make House Republicans, particularly in swing districts, cast a very, very difficult vote. He's not going to be removed from office between now and the time of the inauguration. So this is only about barring him in the future. Bill, you just had the FBI and the U.S. Attorney talk about the extent to which they're investigating misdemeanors, trespass. Why is it so hard for the House to take a step back and say, hey, let's investigate insurrection and the president's response while the siege was going on? I mean, what's the rush? You're not going to get him out of office between now and the time his term ends. If you want to bar him in the future, why don't you do something really unusual, which is actually investigate it before you make the allegation?
I was talking to some Republican senators over the weekend, Karl. They're actively talking about with the Democratic colleagues the possibility of a censure. A lot of moderate senators in the middle may go there. Are you hearing the same thing? Is that a possibility?
I talked to a member of the House who was in discussions with with Democratic members about it. And think about this. We will not impeach Donald Trump, which we can't have him found guilty before he leaves office, if you Republicans will join with us in censuring the president instead. So make up your minds. Either he is worthy of impeachment or he's worthy of censure. If you want to censure him, go ahead and censure him. There's already a stain enough on him that's going to keep him from running and winning in 2024, in my opinion. Can you imagine the television spots that could be run by the Democrats if he were to be the Republican nominee in 2024? But, make up your minds. You're either going to carry this to the extreme or you're going to settle for a censure. But, you're negotiating it as if this did not have huge consequences for our country. Gerald Ford did an enormous thing for the country when he pardoned Richard Nixon in the aftermath of the Watergate. It probably cost him his election in 1976, but it saved the country from a continuing controversy.
So just to be clear, you're encouraging Joe Biden to follow your advice here. I don't know if he will.
Oh, it's the advice. It's the advice of the Wall Street Journal editorial page,
right,
and
I agree
with
with that. Do you think Biden will do that? Yes or no?
No, I don't. I I think the Democratic Party, I think Nancy Pelosi is head of steam is so strong. She hates Trump so viscerally and so angrily that she is going to do what she feels is best for the caucus in the House, not as what is best for the country.
Okay. Thank you, Karl.
Let him go in peace and with his reputation stained and in disgrace. Do not further heighten the